Welcome back to this Let's Play of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2. Last time we dropped in on Kunda here on Dantooine and, got some basic things done. Just picked up some items, including some much better pistols that, well, I'm not going to be able to do anything with them just yet because there isn't a workbench that's freely available here on Dantooine. There's one item in particular that I need to pick up here as soon as possible, and honestly it may be the best idea, just from pure min-maxing standpoint for this game, to pick up this item as soon as you can. Before going to Nar Shaddaa, just come here and pick up this item.
Let us end this.
I'm not doing that just for continuity's sake, though I am going to run back to Nar Shaddaa anyways. This particular item levels with you. It's a lightsaber crystal, so it's worth essentially having it as soon as possible so that you can get as many levels for it as possible.
I will silence this one.
Again, this game's not super hard, so if you don't have super best equipment, maybe it's not a big deal, but these Kinrath, if you do come here first, these Kinrath can actually be fairly dangerous. They have fairly strong physical attacks, but obviously since I have my well-upgraded lightsaber, they don't pose much of a threat to me. Near the entrance here, there's this guy, Said, or how he pronounces it, She, maybe.
What? You shouldn't sneak up on an old fella like that. You shouldn't be out here anyway. This is Kinrath territory.
Not anymore. They're all dead.
There was a time when seeing a Kinrath was a rare thing. They mostly were around some caves to the south of here. But now, they're everywhere. They're dangerous, too. More vicious than they used to be. I'd stay away from the eastern side of the plains. And now that I think about it, stay away from the west, too. The west is filled with Cath hounds. Dantooine is in a sad state these days. Mostly because the Republic has left us to fend for ourselves. I gave the Republic the best years of my life, and I understand they're under pressure. But I think that they'd be able to spare at least something to help us out. All we get is sympathy. A couple weeks back, there was an accident here. One of the western fringe farmers was coming to Kunda on his swoop with a load of atmospheric sensors. We found him dead and his swoop bike all banged up. I've come back a couple of times to try to figure out if that's what really happened. I'm one of the Kunda militia. They need all the able bodies they can get. I was a Republic custom inspector before I came back home. Now I'm the closest thing the militia's got to an investigator. I do. The Kinrath are dangerous. But as long as you stay on your swoop bike, there's no way they should catch you. I've carefully searched this area and haven't found anything. So maybe our man just got sloppy. We really need those atmospheric sensors.
But Dantooine is temperate. There is no need for atmospheric sensors except for seasonal data collection.
Huh? It's just important we get it back. They're expensive pieces of equipment, and we can't afford to replace them. Regardless, I don't suppose you'd be willing to keep an eye out for something.
Sure, why not?
I just really need them. It's important. Please come to me if you find any of the atmospheric sensors. I'll pay you 1,000 credits for each one you find, whether they're broken or not.
Alright, and we're not actually going to hand in that quest, but we are going to find the sensors pretty soon. And I just want to make sure that I have the quest so that the sensors show up so I don't have to run back and get them later. The first place we're really going is this Kinrath cave to the southeastern side of the map here. It's actually sort of in your interest to save before you go in here. And there's a mercenary here who apparently is not being attacked by the Kinrath. Maybe he knows something. Turns out there's not really a side quest, there's a side option you have with him where you can talk to him and he will tell you how to get a scent gland and not get attacked. But I'd rather get attacked and fight back and get the XP, so I'm going to leave him alone. You can also murder him for it, but it's not worth XP, worth influence with anyone, so not much point. We can grab these atmospheric sensors.
I don't know about that. They are vitally important pieces of equipment on tectonically or environmentally unstable regions. But do you really need atmospheric sensors on Dantooine?
Okay, so we'll just use our repair skill to look inside.
Nice job, General.
Okay, and I did not gain influence with Be'er there. Normally you would gain influence with Be'er, and that I didn't is an indication that I'm maxed out on influence with him. Which means it's time for a conversation with him as well. But he'll only have that conversation if you're actually on the Ebon Hawk at the time. You can't do it out in the If you do come here first, these Kinrath can be a little more challenging. They're never hard. There's the last room in this area can be... You can get swarmed if you're really, really careless, basically. And I guess you could theoretically have problems. There's a lot of theoretical. Kreia on Jedi support will use energy resistance, which I don't know why she's using it here, but I don't know. The AI is not very good about using force powers, which is why I primarily just leave people on aggressive rather than on Jedi support. And then if I want a force power used, I do it myself. Or I take control of the character and do it. Have them do it. And poison. The upgraded forms of healing also remove poison, so it's not a problem for me.
How do you like that?
Your thoughts are distorted. I can feel them like a shiver running through you. Force-sensitive locations such as this absorb and reflect force energy. The crystals are the catalyst here. I sense that Revan once passed through here, leaving a strong impression behind in the crystals. Perhaps future Jedi who visit this cave will feel our presence, as if seeing our footprints preserved in the soil.
Yeah, maybe it's something they'll include in the Knights of the Old Republic MMO. Though I'm not sure what will happen with that. It's possible that it will happen actually during the Jedi Civil War, which means is going to be essentially before the events of this game. Okay. The reason we came here is for our named crystal. It's your name.
This is very rare indeed.
And more or less the way it works is that with Kreia on the Ebon Hawk, you can have her. You can talk to her and essentially attune the crystal, and it gets better as you gain levels. Since it gets better as you gain levels, it's actually sort of in your interest to come and get it earlier. I didn't. I'm sort of out a little bit of power on that for it, but I don't really care. The reason why you might want to save and reload a couple times in this area is a question of these other crystals that show up. If you get nothing but things like Bondar crystals, then you might want to reload. I don't really care that much. It's not that important, but those side crystals are a little bit less common than they were in the first game, and so you won't really see them all over the place. There is one merchant here on Dantooine who stocks a fair number, but you really kind of have to keep your eye out for them and buy them when you see them, because if you have a full party of people with lightsabers, you're going to need a lot of them. Especially if, like I intend to do, you're using long and short sabers rather than a dual blade. I I'm using a dual blade for now, just because, well, one of the two lightsabers I have. Another set of that Jiaoshe neophyte armor. But this is the last one, and then we're just going to leave the cave, and I'm going to run back to the Ebon Hawk off-screen.
If you've got some time, I'd like to see what I can upgrade for you.
Yes, I do have a few moments to spare for your work. I would like to know what he is doing here, though.
He helps me out with repairs. That isn't a problem, is it?
I suppose not. Perhaps in working on my circuitry, your assistant will learn something about how a fully functional droid is constructed.
Yeah, there's a rivalry here
Just
between
ignore him and let's get to work.
Big Sphere and Little Sphere.
I appreciate that. Our group has little in the way of time to spare, and I would not want to delay you from your other duties.
Right. Let's get you open. See what you can do.
And Beadur gives
I have to
an
say,
upgrade
As I
to
told you,
There were a few-
Goto, and Goto gets a permanent +1 dex. But it's mostly just humorous because it's Big Sphere and Little Sphere having their little spat, and you know, it's a little ridiculous. Anyway, next time we're gonna have some conversations with our companions. In fact, I have a whole lot of backlogged conversations with companions, and I may just sort of breeze through a couple of them, though some of them are sort of important. So, see you next time.